In our video today, we're going to be talking about one of the more common problems I see, and that's going to be early extension as we come down into the golf ball. We'll talk about our 3 big reasons why I see that happening and how we can help you fix it. All right, so everybody, Scott Hogan coming at you here again. So we're in my training center. We're going to be talking about early extension. So early extension, one of the more common problems that I see out on the lesson tee. It's interesting how it happens. Now you see it, I work with a lot of juniors. You see it in a lot of adults, and it's interesting as we go through it. We're going to talk about 3 things I see, but there can be quite a lot of reasons that this happens. So everybody's a little bit unique in this one, but we'll talk about the 3 main ones, and it all kind of stems from these thoughts as we go through early extension. So before we do that, just want to make sure that if you enjoy our videos, make sure you comment down below. Let us know, some of your thoughts with early extension. If you're having issues with it, what's it doing to your ball flight? And also comment and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of our upcoming tips. We'd love to be able to help you and kind of go further into this topic. So please let us know any questions after this video you have about early extension, because we want to help you with this one, because this one can be a killer. So for those that don't know what early extension is, it's one of the more common problems I see. So early extension is when we come down and we go into the golf ball. I've got my tail here, okay, or my backside is going to be back here. And when I go down into the golf ball, okay, I'm going to move in off of this line. My spine is going to extend up in the sky. My hips push forward. I lose my pelvic tilt. A lot of bad things happen. The really big one is you're going to move in closer to the ball when you do that, so you run out of room for the club to come through. Leads to a lot of issues with, the deadly shanks. You're going to have issues with contact in general. You're going to have issues with controlling your ball flight. A lot of things happen when we talk about, early extension. So let's talk about what we can do to help kind of fix this, okay, or give ourselves a better chance. Well, the first thing that I see that people do is when we're working on extension with the golf club is if I want to get somebody to stop early extending, the first thing I want to see them do is understand how the golf club works. As we swing a club, a lot of times when people early extend, they don't understand how their hands are going to work. Well, when we're striking the golf ball, a lot of players think that, we think in to out, we're going to draw the golf ball, and their hands are going to work out, okay? The problem is when they do that, the club gets so far behind them, they got no room, and then they've got to extend out for that club to get into the golf ball somehow. Or they're going to have to turn excessively. I'm not saying rotation's bad, but you're going to have to turn a heck of a lot to make that happen. And that's really hard to do for some people. So you're going to have that happen. So what I see people, what we want them to start understanding is when I go with my hands, we call this your hand path, when I'm hitting the ball, my hands are almost actually working to the left. By the time I'm striking, I'm working to the left, but I'm using the force of the club to direct it out to the ball. So my hands are actually working in while the club is working out, okay? So you want a feeling of the club head's going out, not your hands, okay? Again, when I see this, I'll see people come back, they're gonna be good, and then they start throwing their hands out, and then all of a sudden they start to extend, okay? You're going to have to do a lot of down arch. You're going to have to do a lot of crazy things from that point in a very short amount of time to make that work. Now, when we start to move to the kind of the next part is, okay, so the first one being we've got to just work on getting the club head out while your hands stay a little bit closer. So your hand path is staying a little bit closer. You have to work it around your body, not just continually work it out. Now, the second thing I see people do is we call this move early extension, okay? The key word is it's early. Extension is a good thing. You're going to want it, okay? You're going to need it, but you just can't do it early. So it's all about the sequence you do everything. So When I make my swing, let's talk about how you kind of extend and flex. So extension, again, is when you extend this direction with your spine and your back. Flexion, more forward, okay? And you're going to see some tilts in your pelvis when you do this, okay? We call this anterior, posterior tilts of your pelvis. But if you focus just mainly on your spine, you'll most likely be pretty good. So what we see is people that go through it and they think, okay, I don't want to extend, so I'm going to stay flexed as long as I can. So they're really bent forward as they go through. Really bent forward all the way back. Well, what happens is when they go through, they've got no room. So then all of a sudden extension happens. So it's going to look like, from this angle, it looks like that. Okay, so they've extended again too early just to make room for the golf club. Okay, what does it look like as you go through? What do you want to look like as you go to hit the ball? Well, what I typically see is people will bring it into the backswing. You're going to be flexed as you get set up to the ball because you're bending forward to the ball. When I go back, I'm going to turn. I'm actually going to feel this extension. I'm not staying down. I'm actually going to feel some extension as I turn, and that's going to give me a lot of room to get the club back and get kind of set up to start shifting and getting my weight to go forward. It's also going to set me up to actually get my body's going to have a chance to pivot, and there's ways you can do that, but we're talking about the extension part. So what happens is, as I go here, I extend back, and then as I transition, I actually go back into a flexion, okay, where I'm actually kind of bending more forward down towards the ball. And that's what gets me to the ball, and then I'll extend afterwards, okay? So that's where I'll see, again, if we're going to stay on that line, I'll extend, flex as I kind of keep myself away from the ball, and then I extend at the end. So again, extension is good, it's just the early part. That's the problem. So working on how your body extends and flexes at the right times is key, and don't think it has to stay one way or the other. It's changing all the time. You just want to get it in the right order. So remember, it goes, you're flexed at the start, you extend up to the top, flex back down to the golf ball, and then you extend all the way through. So that's, again, that's another key thing I see people that early extend, where they're getting closer to the ball, they're just not understanding that. They're usually trying to do that in the wrong sequence or the wrong order. So that's the second one. Now the third one, this is actually a really common one as well that I see for what early extension is. It's going to be how the club face is coming down to the ball. And there's a lot of ways that you can take the club face down to the ball. You know, I can get the club face up here and have it really flat and I already have it closed. Or, you know, even if I have it up here and it's a little more open and then I close it coming down. Whatever you like to do, a lot of different preferences there. But the key is when people bring the club back, they're going to get it way open. So the club face is up at the sky. They get up, it's open. They start bringing it down. It is still open. And now it's do something to get the face to square. So again, you're not going to, it kind of combines with our first key of, all right, understanding how the club we had to direct the club out to the ball. And our hands kind of stay more in, which also I think helps facilitate some rotation for you. But anyway, that's a different point. It's when you're going out towards the ball, all right, and it's open, you're going to be making some sort of compensation, let's say that, compensation. You're going to be making some sort of compensation to close the face, okay? That's a big problem. Again, there's a lot of ways that the face could come down open. I could bring it down, getting it too steep with the wrong wrist condition. I could do that where I'm kind of cupped here, and that would have the face open, and then I got to kind of extend, drop it late back, and then do some things. A lot of bad things happen there. You know, I could bring it down, you know, shallow, but I could bring it down with the wrong wrist conditions. I've got problems still where I got to get this thing to square. it's just a matter of the face relationship to what you're trying to do is off. And so, again, you're going to compensate. So I do see that a lot with the early extension is when you're coming down, a lot of times it's, let's get this thing squared up somehow, and I still got to get the path out. So a lot of bad things start happening. We start to early extend. So the last thing I would check is just where your club face is. So, and making sure it's in a good spot for you to go. So again, let's kind of recap those three things. So again, the early extension, it's a problem, but the key part is it's early, okay? So you like extension, just not before you get to the ball, right? We like that to see that happen after the ball if we can help it, all right? So what we're doing is, first thing you want to do is you want to check and see if you can get the club directed out to the ball. So we did like a right hand only swing before, actually a great drill to stop flipping. But what you're going to look at is how you make contact doing this drill, okay? And you're going to see is I try to just kind of keep my hands close into my body, my right hand specifically, and direct the club out. Don't have to hit them great, you're just trying to get that feel. And somewhere hopefully close to the middle, again, you don't have to smoke them, but somewhere close to the middle is a great one as far as left and right. Don't get it too close to the toe, too close to the heel. Then from there, we're going to work on our body position. Again, we want a mix of extending, flexing, extending throughout our swing. You just want to get it into that correct order. So you want to work on that as you're going through your swing. Again, I think that works really well as I start to understand how the golf club moves in my swing, okay? And then the last one's going to be how the club face is coming down. Is it too open? And you're going to have to make some sort of move. Those are those three big things that you can do. Those are the three things I see, because what I see on 3D, I'll see people that rotate a lot, or I see people that rotate a little that don't early extend, okay? I think you can do it either way. I see people that have a bowed wrist at the top, a flexed wrist at the top, a extended wrist at the top that don't early extend, okay? I see a lot of those, but the common things I see are people that flex too much, okay? They tend to be the ones that extend early because they need some room. People that just have a interesting idea of how the golf club travels out and how their hands work, they also tend to early extend. And then our last one is people that have the face really open. I usually will see early extension just because they're trying to make up some way to get that club back to the ball and have it somewhat square. So again, early extension, kind of one of those mythical things in the golf swing. It's tough. A lot of people do it. As you start working on it, hopefully these three things help. Again, we want to hear how you go about dealing with it. What are your questions about it? Try these tips, but let us know what questions you have, because this is a one that can be very unique to an individual, and we'd love to hear what you have about it and what you're looking for. So again, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and click that little bell next to it so you get notified when our videos are coming on, and we'd love to hear your comments and what you want to learn about. Other than that, we've got the holidays next week, so we wish everybody a happy holiday, and if we don't see you before the new year, Happy New Year as well. And we'll look forward to your best golf in 2019, everybody. So again, thanks so much for the support. Thanks so much for watching.